All right, good afternoon, everyone. Let me do a quick audio check here to make sure that we are getting audio out okay. If you're in chat and you can let me know, that's great too. Otherwise, I'll wait for my stream to catch up here on my phone quick. All right, sounds like we're good here. So we'll get started. Hey, Aaron, good to see you here. We're going to talk about that pretty quickly here as we get going in our briefing. It's one of the very first things we're going to talk about. So, perfect. Thanks for letting me know. We're going to talk about thunder snow. Yeah, we'll talk about thunder snow as well a little bit here as we get going. I can do that. Okay. Hey, Levi, how are you? We've got some people filtering in now. Go ahead and get started. As we go along, if you guys have questions and you'd like to leave those in the chat, you can do so. And my Discord staff team, if you guys are in chat, Levi, I see you. If you guys are in chat and if I'm missing something, if you can just spam ping me in Discord somewhere, that would be fantastic. And I will try to get to as many questions as I can. All right. Well, then let's get started then. So we have an impactful period of weather coming up over the next couple of days and really get started as early as tonight and then especially tomorrow, Sunday. And it'll really continue through Tuesday morning. So the information contained within this update is very current. I just finished putting this together a few moments ago, so this is very up to date, and it includes all the latest from the National Weather Service. All right, so what we know, freezing rain is likely tonight. Accretions, unfortunately, up to a light glaze in and around Mount Pleasant. And I say unfortunately because those areas just got a whole bunch of ice. And while this will not be a significant additional amount of ice, they do not need any more up and around Mount Pleasant and Big Rapids there. So but if we get some freezing rain tonight, which is looking increasingly likely, it could add some additional ice accretions up there around Mount Pleasant and Big Rapids. Then we move into a widespread soaking rainfall and scattered thunderstorms on Sunday before rain changes over to snow Sunday night, and that's when things really start to get concerning. And we're looking at heavy snow, lake effect snow, strong to even damaging winds, and significant blowing snow all day Monday. Then we'll see lake effect snow and cold temperatures continue for the rest of the week. What we don't know is exact final snowfall totals, the extent of travel impacts, and any related blizzard potential. I think there is some blizzard potential, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And then the extent of power outages caused by the wind. So those are some of the things that we still have questions about, but let's go ahead and dive into tonight. First and foremost, we have a winter weather advisory in effect for Osceola, Clare, Mecosta, Isabella, Lake, and Newaygo counties until 1 p.m. tomorrow, and that is because we are again expecting freezing rain overnight tonight with total ice accumulations of around 1/10 of an inch. So if you're in those purple shaded areas there, you can expect to see some freezing rain overnight, and some of you may see some additional ice accumulations. Again, it's kind of unfortunate because this area here from Big Rapids to Reed City over to Harrison and Clare saw a lot of ice accumulations, and they really don't need any more. It's still below freezing up there, so they have not really lost a lot of that ice, and they're going to get some more overnight, and then they won't really lose it until Sunday. But winter weather advisory in effect for all those purple shaded counties there: Mecosta, Osceola, Lake, Newaygo, Isabella, and Clare until 1 p.m. tomorrow. So we have widespread rain showers. Those scattered rain showers really will begin after midnight tonight with some light totals during the overnight hours. We are expecting, again, that area of localized freezing rain up here across the Big Rapids, Reed City, Clare, Mount Pleasant, Harrison areas, and maybe into the Baldwin and Newaygo areas. I think that the best chance for a glaze of ice is in this pink shaded area here on our ice accretion forecast. So again, this is not going to be a major event, but with the remaining impacts from that freezing rain event we had yesterday, they could be having some issues over there, especially in the morning on Sunday. So there's that graphic from the National Weather Service as well with their forecast for the freezing rain. Again, we can see those best chances are in those darker magenta, darker red colors there, east of US 131 along US 10. All right, so Sunday, we have more rain and thunderstorms coming in. So we've got additional widespread soaking rainfall as warm air moves into the region. I think highs could reach into the low to mid 50s on Sunday, especially down here along I-94. I think we could see some temperatures approaching 55, 56, maybe even 57 degrees during the day on Sunday. Rainfall totals along and north of I-96 are going to range from around 1/4 of an inch to around 3/4 of an inch. Those highest totals are going to be right along I-96 there. And then they will increase as we get south of I-96, 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch here across much of our area. And then the highest rainfall totals are going to be from about Lansing to Sturgis and points east and south of there, where we start to get into the 2-inch range, especially over here near Jackson and Hillsdale. I think we could see some totals over 2 inches there. So we don't really have a ton of flooding concerns, but there are some minor chances that we could see some localized urban or low-lying area flooding with this event. Again, especially over here near Jackson, Lansing, and Hillsdale, where those totals approaching 2 inches are possible. Recently this afternoon, the Storm Prediction Center also introduced a risk for severe weather to our area. Yes, it's December, and yes, we're talking about severe weather, so damaging winds, hail, and tornadoes is what we talk about when we were talking about severe weather. In this case, the risk is only for damaging winds, and I think that a strong to marginally severe storm with like gusts of around 40 to maybe 60 miles per hour is possible down here along US 12, especially east of Sturgis. So we do have that very low risk for a severe storm or two down there along US 12. And then there's this light green shading really everywhere across our area now for some regular thunderstorms. I think we could see some rumbles of thunder here during the day on Sunday. The best chance is going to be south of Muskegon to Mount Pleasant. So south of the Muskegon to Mount Pleasant line, I think, is the best chance for thunderstorms. So flash freeze possible Sunday night. I think we could see some isolated areas of flash freezing potential, especially in areas that have a lot of stagnant water on roadways. And a flash freeze, what we mean by a flash freeze is really temperatures just kind of plummeting in a very short span of time after we've gotten some rain or some snow melt from warmer temperatures. So temperatures fall rapidly behind an intense cold front from the 40s and 50s Sunday evening into the 20s on Monday morning. And again, that will cause stagnant rainwater to freeze quickly. Okay. So that's a look at the rest of the weekend, and then we move into Monday. And Monday, again, is where we have a lot of our concerns, at least for the western half of our area. So our timing for our winter storm is going to be from anytime after 12 a.m. midnight on Sunday through 11:59 p.m. Monday night. So the overnight time frames from Sunday night to Monday morning through late Monday night. And then for our hazards, we're looking at snow and lake effect snow with locally heavy bands. Of course, lake effect, we all know what lake effect does, and it's very localized. We do expect bands of snow to rotate through the area. So those will be locally heavy at times, and we'll talk about snow accumulations. We'll even look at some models here in a little bit, and you'll see exactly what I mean by those bands of snow rotating through the area with that bomb cyclone as it moves through. Totals of 1 to 6 plus inches are likely area wide. I think the highest totals are going to be along the lakeshore and west of US 131. Big concern is strong to damaging winds of 50 to 65 miles per hour with scattered to widespread power outages likely. And those winds are going to bring significant blowing and drifting snow, especially west of US 131 where those heavier bands of lake effect snow set up. And we are expecting major travel impacts with reduced visibility and localized whiteouts or blizzard conditions possible. And we'll talk about the alerts here in a little bit. And then single-digit wind chills are our other concern for Monday. All right, so here is our big alert. We've got a big winter storm watch in effect for almost the entire western half of our coverage area, with the exception of our IWX, our Northern Indiana Weather Service counties here. Berrien, Cass, St. Joseph, Branch, and Hillsdale are not included in this watch, but the remainder of our western coverage area is. So we have our winter storm watch in effect for Mason, Lake, Oceana, Newaygo, Muskegon, Ottawa, Kent, Allegan, Barrie, Van Buren, and Kalamazoo counties until 10 p.m. And this is because we are expecting heavy snow with total snow accumulations of around 4 to 7 inches. And again, those winds are a big concern. So winds could gust as high as 55 miles per hour. Roads and especially bridges and overpasses will likely become slick and hazardous. And then again, our main concern here with this system is not necessarily the snow totals. They're only around 4 to 7 inches with locally higher amounts, but our big concern is visibilities. And visibilities could drop below 1/4 of a mile at times due to falling and blowing snow with localized whiteout conditions possible. And this could really make travel quite treacherous and potentially life-threatening everywhere here in these blue shaded areas. And I think that the hazardous conditions could impact the Monday morning and evening commutes, especially, and maybe even the Tuesday morning. But the Weather Service is definitely calling for Monday morning and evening commutes. And the strong winds could cause tree damage, power line damage, result in some power outages as well. So that's what we have going on in those blue shaded areas there for the western part of our coverage area. We also have some wind alerts in effect for our other areas that were not in that winter storm watch. We'll start with our high wind watch here, and that's this kind of a rust orange brown color here. So we have a high wind watch for Osceola, Clare, Mecosta, Isabella, Montcalm, Gratiot, Ionia, Clinton, Eaton, Ingham, Calhoun, and Jackson counties until 10 p.m. on Monday. And this is because we are expecting those winds further inland as well. So west winds 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts up to 55 miles per hour. And again, damaging winds could blow down trees and power lines. Widespread power outages are possible. And travel could be difficult, especially for those high-profile vehicles, your semi-trucks. Not that there's a ton of campers driving down the road this time of year, but campers, semi-trucks, U-Haul vans, anything that's top-heavy or has a lot of surface area for those winds to push on could make driving difficult for those vehicles. So, and then snow and blowing snow are going to be carried well inland by these very strong winds, and that'll result in rapidly changing visibilities even outside of that winter storm watch area within this high wind watch area. And those could reduce visibilities and make travel hazardous there as well. We also have a wind advisory in effect for Berrien, St. Joseph, Branch, Cass, and Hillsdale counties until 7 p.m. on Monday. And that's for really the same thing. Just west winds 25 to 35 miles per hour with gusts of 45 to 50 miles per hour expected in this tan shading down here. And again, gusty winds will blow around unsecured objects, and we could see a few power outages and some tree damage as a result of that. So that's what we're looking at for wind alerts. And then we have a really big marine weather alert too. We don't normally talk about marine alerts here at West Michigan Weather, but because of the impacts we saw with our last event in November, we just wanted to kind of highlight what's going to be happening on Lake Michigan during this time. So this is a storm warning that's in effect for all of Lake Michigan and all of our Lake Michigan beaches until 1 a.m. on Tuesday. Northwest winds 35 to 45 knots, which is about 40 to 50 miles per hour, with gusts up to 55, which is 60 to 65 miles per hour, and waves of 15 to 25 feet expected. Okay, along the immediate lakeshore here, I think waves closer to 12 to 18 feet are more likely, but out here on the open water is 15 to 25 feet. Ashley, is anyone going out chasing tonight or tomorrow? I don't know if people will tomorrow. It's a pretty low-end severe weather threat down here along the Indiana border, but I would anticipate Monday they will. Monday there will certainly be people out chasing the weather, I'm sure. So that's kind of what's going to be happening on Lake Michigan as this bomb cyclone moves through the region on Monday. All right, let's move into our forecasts. So this is a look at our snow forecast. And our supporters got an early look at this earlier this morning. You can sign up to be a community supporter and get early access to this forecast and lots of other forecasts with the links down there scrolling underneath the screen here. So westmichiganweather.net/donate is how you would sign up for those, but that's certainly not necessary at all. Widespread 1 to 3 inches here in the cyan shading across the eastern part of our area. And I want to highlight that this is a very preliminary map. Okay, so just because you're seeing 1 to 3 inches here, that may eventually be the case, but I wouldn't totally rule out having to bump these totals up as this event gets closer. Again, we're still 48 hours-ish out from this event really getting underway on Monday morning. And so this is just a preliminary, pretty conservative forecast on snowfall totals. As you move further west and you get along 131 here, south of Big Rapids, we're looking at 2 to 5 inches everywhere in this lighter blue color. It includes South Haven, St. Joseph, Allegan, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Holland, Cedar Springs, and then east of US 131 there in Mecosta and Osceola counties. As you move even further northwest, once you get northwest of Grand Haven and Big Rapids, you could see 3 to 6 inches with locally higher amounts. And then even further northwest up towards Hart and Ludington and Baldwin, we could see 5 to 8 inches with locally higher amounts there as well. So certainly some impactful snow in of itself in these blue colors here. Muskegon, Whitehall, Newaygo, Big Rapids, Reed City, Baldwin, Hart, and Ludington. But again, the big concern is with the winds blowing this snow around. All right, so here's a look at that wind forecast. West winds of 15 to 30 miles per hour with gusts of up to 50 or 55 miles per hour, really across our entire area here. Again, we've got that winter storm watch in effect for our western half of our area for wind gusts up to 55 miles per hour, and that high wind watch for the eastern half of our area for winds up to 55 miles per hour. The reason we've highlighted these in slightly higher totals is we think that those wind gusts could approach or exceed 60 miles per hour as you get closer to the lakeshore. And we'll take a look at our model data here in a little bit, but I certainly think that is a very very real, possibility. I was trying to read chat there while talking. It didn't work very well. Along the lakeshore there. So very real possibility along the lakeshore there to see gusts approaching or exceeding 65 or 60 miles per hour, possibly approaching 65 miles per hour. John Ross, hi West Michigan weather. Today is my birthday. I'm 36 years old. Well, happy birthday, sir. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you like winter weather, because that's what you're getting for your birthday from Mother Nature. So that is what is on the way for the early part of next week. And then again, 12 to 18 foot waves along those Lake Michigan beaches here, from Manistee all the way down to St. Joseph. Right, so travel impacts are obviously going to be a pretty major concern, and I'm sure that's what everyone is curious about. These are our initial thoughts on travel impacts for Monday's storm. Again, this is a kind of initial conservative look at what we're thinking. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of these areas bumped up to higher categories, especially along the lakeshore here. I could see us introducing areas of impossible or life-threatening travel in coming forecast updates. So widespread areas of at least dangerous travel conditions along and west of US 131. Moderate impacts from US 131 to US 127, and minor impacts likely, possibly moderate impacts for areas east of US 127. Right, and there's the official NWS forecast that they issued this afternoon. It's a little bit hard to read here. The colors don't have a ton of contrast, so we'll try to break it down a little bit. But from 2 a.m. to 10 p.m. Is when we're expecting this winter storm. So 2 a.m. Monday to 10 p.m. on Monday. Hazards, slick snow-covered roads, reduced visibilities, and scattered power outages. And what should you be doing? Give yourself extra time to travel and keep an emergency kit in your car. And you need to stay tuned for later forecast updates and possible warnings. So within our this kind of pale yellow shading here, right along and west of US 131, and I'll kind of show you where that's at here. So if you follow my cursor, it's kind of right in here. And then everywhere to the left of that line I just drew is our greatest impact zone. So 3 to 6 inches of snow, localized whiteout conditions, and gusts of 55 to 65 miles per hour. And then within this blue-gray color here, this pale blue, pale gray color includes Jackson, Lansing, Alma, Mount Pleasant. Everywhere right of that line that I drew is moderate impact. So snow of 1 to 4 inches, rapidly changing visibility, and wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour within that area. All right, so expected snow accumulation from the National Weather Service. We can see here that this matches pretty closely with our current thinking as well. Lightest amounts here along US 127, and then they kind of ramp up as you move further west. As we approach US 131 here, we're starting to get into that 2 to 4 inch range, and then as we get even closer to the lakeshore, we get into that 3 to 6 inch range. And up here near Ludington, near Hart, and Baldwin, we're starting to see those areas of 3 to 7 inches, especially in these yellow tan colors here. Those are 6 to 8 inch totals there. So that's a look at the official NWS forecast. Percent chance for 2 inches or snowfall or more, excuse me. A chance of 4 inches or more. The chances of 6 inches or more, we're starting to see those probabilities kind of dropping off here. Again, it's not necessarily about the amount of snow that we're getting, it's more of the winds carrying and blowing that snow and reducing visibilities. And then finally, the chances for 8 inches or more are kind of localized, highest probabilities around 20% there up in far northern Mason and Lake counties. Right, let's take a look at our computer models. And of course, one of the big questions that I want to answer before we get into exactly what our computer models show is what a blizzard warning is. And I think that the best way to do that is to pull it right from the National Weather Service and let you guys see it. So we will we'll pop this up here. Let's see. Of course, they don't have theirs right in front here. Okay, this one has the criteria. It's not from the National Weather Service. It's not an NWS graphic, but this is the criteria. So wind gusts of 35 miles per hour or greater, 1/4 mile visibility or less, and those conditions have to last for 3 hours or more. Okay, so just, I know I've been seeing the word blizzard thrown around. We've used it ourselves, certainly. There is a non-zero chance for blizzard warnings being needed within that winter storm watch area. We'll have to wait and see what happens. It's much too early to make that determination, but we are going to spend some time looking at why we think that those blizzard warnings may eventually be needed here as we move into the winter storm time frame of concern from Monday until Monday night. So, all right. So let's take a look at simulated radar. So this is our simulated radar. This is 6 p.m. today. And as we move into the overnight hours, we're starting to see those isolated to scattered rain showers show up. This is 4 a.m. Okay. And by 5 a.m., we're starting to see that freezing rain develop across our northeastern part of our coverage area there, becoming even more widespread there for a little bit, and our rain showers become more widespread as well. Okay. That freezing rain starts to move out by 10 or 11 a.m. as the warmer temperatures advect into the region, or move into the region in layman's terms. Those warmer temperatures are also going to push rain up into the area. So pretty good soaking rainfall. Again, those heaviest amounts staying down here across our far southeastern coverage area. And those are really going to continue all day. This is 5 p.m. on Monday, 6 p.m. There's that low pressure center. This is 9 p.m. And then as we get into Sunday night, we start to see that change over to snow in those blue colors. Okay, and this won't take us all the way through the event, but it'll give us a good idea of what Monday morning and the early part of Monday might look like. And those are those bands of snow, and you can just kind of see how they're kind of pivoting through the area. They're following that low pressure system. Okay, so really intense band of lake effect snow here, and you can see just how far inland these are pushing in. So again, our greatest impacts are going to be west of US 131 here, where there's pretty much snow everywhere all the time, but those impacts will continue into our US 127 area east of Grand Rapids as well, because of those very, very strong winds. Okay. So that takes us through 1 p.m. Monday. Again, this is going to continue, or is expected to continue for the rest of the day on Monday. This particular model doesn't go quite that far out yet, but this gives us a good idea of what we can expect. And the next product I want to take a look at is visibility. And so this shows visibility in miles here. Our color scale is kind of down here on the bottom. So these blue colors that we see across our area are about 7 miles or so, 7 to 8 miles. And this is for earlier this afternoon at about 1 p.m. So obviously not anything concerning happening today. What we're really looking for is like these purple and light pink colors. You can kind of see them over here in Wisconsin and Illinois. But what we want to see is fairly widespread purple and bright pink colors across a wide swath of our area for at least 3 frames, and every frame is every time I move the move that slider bar at the top. Each one is a frame there, for those of you who are not familiar with this. Okay, and so what we want to see is really widespread pink, and so this is from fog and rain. Okay, so these aren't necessarily caused by snow. This is more of going to be a fog and rain issue, and I think the HRRR might be overdoing those a little bit just based on the aviation forecast, but certainly a possibility. Again, we've got more rain coming in here for much of the day on Sunday, rain and low clouds, so that's going to cut down on visibilities quite a bit. Where the HRRR really shines, I think, for forecasting visibilities with snow is it does a really good job of factoring in winds and snow particle based on temperatures. And so we can see this big, huge swath of poor visibilities. Remember, we need to see these bright pink colors. So we want to see 0.2 miles really or less for at least 3 hours. Okay, so this is 1 a.m. on Monday as that snow starts to get going. And already we've got a little pocket of 0.2 miles there. And well, let's see how that evolves. Okay, so where we're going with this is that blizzard conditions may not be met. That criteria for blizzard warning might not be met. Is it possible? Absolutely. But there's not really a big swath of those reduced visibilities like I'd like to see for this event. And visibility is already improved by 1 p.m. as that snow starts to become more banded together. Is a blizzard warning off the table? No. Do I think it's super likely? Also, no. I think we're kind of borderline at this point. I think it could go either way, whether or not we see a blizzard warning. Do I think it's becoming increasingly likely? Yes, just based on kind of the trends in the models and the consistency. But I don't want to really dwell on the fact of, oh, we don't have a blizzard warning, so it's not going to be super bad. The 12Z HRRR was really very similar with its forecast as well. This is 7 a.m. Monday. So really where I'm going with this is the bottom line is that there's going to be localized areas of blizzard conditions and whiteout conditions. Do I think that blizzard warnings are super likely? I think it could go either way. So I don't think they're super likely. We could see a blizzard warning for part or all of our winter storm watch as time goes on. But they also may just opt to do winter storm warnings or winter weather advisories as well. Again, blizzard warnings are reserved for those super high impact events, and this might make that criteria, and it might not. But the bottom line is that regardless of what kind of alert is out there, if it's a blizzard warning, if it's a winter weather advisory, whatever it is, the point is that there's going to be dangerous travel conditions, life-threatening travel conditions are a certain possibility, especially along and west of US 131 on Monday in that snow and blowing snow. We'll just see what snowfall looks like through 1 p.m. on Monday. Okay, this is just one model, so again, this isn't a full forecast or anything, but it looks very similar to what our forecasts have been thus far. 1 to 3 inches along US 127, increasing as you approach US 131, and then as you move further northwest up towards Muskegon, Ludington, Hart, Baldwin, you start to see those totals creeping up towards 6-8 inches. Right, so that is really the extent of our HRRR there. I do want to look at the Storm Prediction Center's HREF model at their blizzard composite and see how far out that goes. Okay, So that blizzard composite, let's zoom in a little bit here. That blizzard composite does have some blizzard probabilities starting to show up. It did not earlier. So they're pretty low probabilities, but 10 to 20% blizzard probabilities across a pretty good chunk of our area, especially right along the lakeshore there. 40 to 30 to 40, maybe 50% probabilities there right along the lakeshore. So certainly interesting. One thing of note too is that the criteria is less than 20.25 miles, so less than a quarter mile visibility. This is the same criteria, but they've bumped that visibility to half a mile, so it's a little bit less stringent. And you can see that those probabilities are a lot higher. They're up towards 70, 80, even 90% there across a good chunk of our area. One thing too is that, so the National Weather Service in Marquette has blizzard warnings up for part of their area. Okay, so that's all that red shading there. So they have blizzard warnings up, and one thing that is interesting is that this HREF model does show some probabilities for blizzard there up in the UP, but it's really not anything more or less than down here. In fact, I would say it's less than, they have less than what we do down here in terms of this particular run of the HREF model. So, and obviously the National Weather Service isn't solely basing their alert decisions off of this one particular model, but it is a big factor into their forecasting and the messaging that they provide. So again, I don't think that blizzard warnings are completely off the table. Levi snow squall warnings may be more likely than blizzard warning. Yeah, so the one thing about snow squall warnings, Levi, is that the National Weather Service in Grand Rapids does not issue snow squall warnings. Well, it's not a written rule by any means, but they have said in the past that they will not issue snow squall warnings simply because they would be issuing them all the time and they would lose their there would be warning fatigue associated with them. So if take tornado warnings, for example, if they issue 100 tornado warnings and only one tornado touches down, that lends to what is known as warning fatigue, where people are more likely to ignore warnings. And so the same kind of thing applies to snow squall warnings. There would just be so many of them because we get so much lake effect snow here that nobody would listen to them. And if they ever did want to issue a snow squall warning for a really high-end type of event, no one would heed that. So they have said that they will normally not issue snow squall warnings. And I think for such a long duration event, issuing snow squall warnings for such a short term time would further lend to that. There would be a lot of snow squall warnings coming out because they can only last for 90 minutes tops. So we'll have to see for sure. But I don't think that snow squall warnings are particularly likely. So that's a look at our computer models. Looking ahead after Monday, we are going to stay cold, and honestly, we're going to get colder for the rest of the week. By Thursday and Friday, we're going to probably see highs only getting into the teens with single-digit wind chills. Lake effect snow will continue Tuesday and Wednesday, and we could see some more impactful snow for New Year's Eve into the New Year's Day time frame, as if New Year's Eve travel isn't chaotic enough. So that's kind of where we are at for this system. Again, I think that blizzard warnings aren't off the table, and regardless of if you're under a winter storm watch right now, regardless of if they upgrade to a blizzard warning or they don't, what I want to stress is that this is going to be a pretty impactful winter storm for the western half of our area at least, and could even impact the eastern half of our area quite significantly as well. So it's really just a matter of those winds, and those winds are not going away. In fact, they continue to become more impressive, it seems like, with every run that comes in, with every new computer model that comes in. They kind of look more and more impressive. So this is going to be a high impact event with lots of blowing, drifting snow, reduced visibilities, and significant travel concerns. So please stay tuned for future updates for possible upgrades to winter storm warnings, winter weather advisories, blizzard warnings, high wind warnings. Whatever the case is, we are certainly in for a period of impactful weather, and we'll continue to provide forecast updates as we go into tomorrow. So there are links there where you can follow us on Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Discord, here on our YouTube channel. Whatever works best for you, please give us a follow so that we can help get the word out and keep people safe, make sure that they get to their destinations on time. Let people know that they should be delaying travel if it gets to that point, which it probably will. But with that, I will turn it over to you guys. If you have questions quick, then we'll wrap up this stream. Yeah, Levi, it is super interesting. It just kind of shows the discretion that the individual forecast offices have, and the decisions that they make always have a reason behind them. And I think that the fact that Grand Rapids doesn't issue snow squall warnings is probably a wise decision, because again, they'd be issuing them all the time with the amount of lake effect snow that we get. Again, if you guys have questions, feel free to throw them in chat real quick. Otherwise, I'll finish up the stream. Give people just a few seconds to finish typing if they happen to be doing so. Just curious to see what the latest forecast discussion says. Yeah, freezing rain, icy roads with ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch. Winds continue to trend potentially upwards of 40 to 50 miles per hour along the lakeshore. Main question is whether those winds will coincide with the best snow rates to reduce visibilities. Okay, so again, that's kind of what we were showing with that visibility product on the HRRR model, is that those snow rates and those winds may not coincide super well. But it's certainly a possibility. Main concern will be heavy snowfall along the lakeshore and snow-covered roadways, along with reduced visibilities, which could make travel hazardous. With 3 to 6 inches and locally higher amounts possible along the lakeshore, and slightly lower amounts along the US 131 corridor, have issued a winter storm watch for Sunday night through Monday. The worst conditions will affect the Monday morning commute, like we talked about. Inland winds are expected to be slightly weaker, but potentially upwards of 45 to 55 miles per hour. High wind watch for lower Michigan east of the US 131 corridor. East of US 131 corridor is possibly 1 to 4 inches of snow, depending on wind amounts. An advisory will probably be needed tomorrow. Strong forcing will continue into Monday evening before subsiding into Tuesday lake effect snow could linger into Tuesday. And then there's that Clipper system we're watching for New Year's Eve. With 1 to 3 inches or 2 to 4 inches of snow. So, right. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any questions come on through, so we're going to wrap up the stream here. Again, please stay tuned to us here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're watching from, as we continue to provide the most recent up-to-date information on our upcoming winter storm. Especially if you're in those winter storm watch areas, stay tuned for later forecasts and possible warnings. Stay safe, everyone, and have a good rest of your Saturday evening. Popping back in really quick because I forgot to answer the thunder snow question. In terms of thunder snow specifically, so thunder snow is when we have snow and thunder and lightning occurring at the same time. I don't necessarily think that's particularly likely. I think a lot of that instability that would normally promote that is going to be driven out by that very strong cold front that's going to come through. So between our thunderstorms on Sunday, especially Sunday afternoon, we're going to have a cold front come through Sunday evening, and that's going to push all that instability out of the area. And so I don't think that thunder snow is super likely at all. So, but with that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day.